I pressed the go live button because I was going to say this before we went live, and I just wanted to say this. Well, first of all, welcome to the second ever episode of the Meta Effect, Too Legit Crypto and Kansai Crypto, aka Sean and Jimmy. Are you feeding the ducks already?
I am feeding the ducks.
We started this new series where we're gonna touch base with various people. I'm super excited because Sean. We had to take a week off because you were in the forest doing the Jimmy D thing or something last week.
Just cow tipping and and picking shrooms, and I needed a cleanse of the lens, and I'm glad I got it, and I'm glad I'm back here with you, Jimmy.
Yeah, well,
you too,
tune in tomorrow for the Edge of Obscurity, where we'll dive into all that madness. I'm super excited. You two have actually never met, but they're two of my favorite people in the space. This is NiftyBC, and I met NiftyBC, I don't know, a couple of years ago. I came across some of the stuff that he was doing in augmented reality, and we had him on the show, and he was working from his garage, but it was like the coolest little work studio of all time. You are one of the most unsung heroes in the space when it comes to connecting people. You're across multiple blockchains. You host WAXAPALOOZA, which is like kind of a tiny kind of metaverse show that you do every year. I think that you've done it twice now.
No. We're on number 6, Jimmy. Number 6.
Sorry, man. I'm not even paying attention. I suck. You have the M.O.R.B.S line, which is really cool. The M.O.R.B.S characters. Which are like their own IP, which you have this special contract where we allow people to use them and replicate them, similar to what the B.O.R.D have done. But I think you might have did it at first. Actually, I think your idea came out before them, maybe.
I won't claim on that. I don't know.
But like very similar the way that those contracts work. And you do the Nifty Circus, which is pretty cool. I've got the chance of co-hosting over there, where you bring on like 4 or 5 different NFT artists or curators, and you basically have roundtable discussions, which is super fun and super exciting. So that was probably a horrible introduction, but introduce yourself if anything I missed.
Well, you pretty much told them the basic of it. So M.O.R.B.S was the way I've got into all this stuff. It was a midnight sketch that turned into this madness a year later. So now we have our own token that's on Alcor Exchange now. That's doing quite well. We're also listed on NiftyBlocks, which just happened last week. So now you can buy and purchase and list your NFTs and M.O.R.B.S. We have the metaverse. It's no longer WAXAPALOOZA. WAXAPALOOZA is actually going to be changing into a tools for creators / curated API market listings for artists, mainly because artists kind of get a little bit of not the shaft, but we're a little bit pushed to the side in Wax with all the love to the games, because we all love games. But at the same time, I think that it's especially this year, we had a lot of Ethereum people come over from OpenSea when OpenSea kind of went wacky, and it was interesting to hear their take on Wax coming from Ethereum and seeing what was missing and stuff. And I personally saw like a lot of needs that we don't supply to collectors coming from the ETH world. So
what were people saying?
Mainly, the easiest way to put this is that Wax coming from Ethereum is like opening up a physics math book when you're in first grade. Like, they just don't know what the hell's going on. There's far too many instructions, too many steps, not enough info on how to do it. So that was the biggest complaint. And then the second complaint was they didn't know. The first thing they would say is, I don't know what I'm looking at. And it's no offense to the marketplaces, but a lot of the stuff you see obviously is more game oriented, because that's the stuff that's selling the most. So it shows up on the front pages, and that's what they first see, which they can't relate to because they're used to collecting Bored Apes and cool cats. And
there's no PFPs.
Exactly. And speaking of PFPs, I'll get to that in a second. We built a PFP maker. That's part of what we do with the M.O.R.B.S token. So I'll get to that in a second. But So we're a lot of the artists that we all been trying to figure out, like, how do we get more people over to Wax to see the art, not just the games. And so we've come up with some ideas, and we've been slowly hacking at it a little bit. And so WAXAPALOOZA, which was a VR space that I did last summer, I think around July, that now has turned into a 12-room space called M.O.R.B.S, which we just had our big thing last Saturday for the extravaganza. We do 4 of them a year. So we're going to do, I think, Easter, summer solstice, Halloween, and Christmas. And then we do...
I want you to change that. I want you to do summer soul surfer solstice.
We got to do that. I gotta get back into the soul surfers now that I'm coming up for air. Like, I've been basically like nose to the ground for like weeks, and so now I'm starting to come up for air a little bit. And so I have a lot of revisits. I got to go back, get the Solana thing going a little bit more again. You know, there's too much to do for one person.
You're like M.O.R.B.S is primarily on Wax, but you're also you also have a line over on Solana, which is Soul Surfers, which is cool. Yeah. And I just want to take this moment to introduce you, Nifty, to my co-host and good friend Sean. Now, what Sean is doing is a very similar thing with MetaCollect to what you're trying to do in Wax, but they've decided to do it on EOS because there's no art space on EOS. What are you guys building, just so that NiftyBC knows?
Okay, so we started off by launching Underground. It's an NFT art focused publication that focuses on undiscovered artists or artists that don't have a big following, because that's a big problem. Artists across multiple blockchains on those marketplaces, they mint, and they might get a sale or they might not ever get a sale. And there's so much talent out there, but there's no curation. There's no one really elevating it. So we started off with a publication, and then we started developing a marketplace modeled after Hen on Tezos, because similar to EOS, where there's really nothing cool, Tezos, there's nothing cool, but all of a sudden Hen popped up a while back, and a lot of the artists on Ethereum that didn't want to pay the high fees, or it wasn't environmentally friendly enough, they moved over to Hen and sort of built a culture. So that's sort of what we're trying to do, and we're getting pretty close to launching it. And we had this debate, internal debate and sort of external debate. Do we launch it on EOS? Do we launch it on Wax? And eventually, long story short, and this will grow to become a multi-chain marketplace, but we settled on EOS simply because Wax has kind of dug itself this niche, right? Like, it's this brand for gaming collectibles, and we just felt like going on EOS, where there's nothing would almost be easier for us to funnel this community of artists we're building into. So yeah, that's Underground.
You guys decided to go there where there's nothing for your launch. I mean, you're probably going to go across chain. Whereas Nifty, you're trying to rejuvenate the whole ideology of what Wax can be.
I don't know if I want to like change it. I think that's not my perception of it. I think my perception of it is I am well aware I will never beat the games. I'm well aware we can all combine what we sell as artists on Wax. We will never come close to a blockchain brawlers ever. It just won't happen. So there's no point to try to even compete towards that, or trying to go to Wax, be like, oh, please become the artist's coin. It's like, we're not asking that. I simply need the tools that you guys have, and I will reshape your API to make it look right for the collectors.
Yeah.
And that's basically what we're trying to do. So I'm not after the market share. I'm just after a little piece of Ethereum collectors to come on over, to start paying attention to some Wax artists, spend less money, don't spend gas fees, and honestly have better flips. Because once this thing goes cross chain, if you're able to come over here, you're talking about almost like arbitrage, like where someone's going to come over here, buy someone that's let's say like Bone Art. He might buy a Bone Art on Wax for
Bone Art's great, right? Yeah.
So he might buy it for 100 Wax over here, but on Ethereum the floor price is almost close to 0.5 ETH or something. He can have an instant flip. I think that will start to happen once this cross chain starts to go. And And so,
well, one of the cool things I think that like the Meta Collect guys do is very similar. Like, right, like they're across 5 blockchains, and like their whole MO is like going and bringing people who care about the space. But what was funny is I remember when you guys first branched out to Ethereum, and everyone was like, "What? You're selling out? What are you doing?" And Sean was like, "No, we're not doing that. We're actually like benefiting the Wax ecosystem. Like we're bringing people from there to notice some of the great art and some of the great collections that are over here."
You have to. You almost have to hold people's hand and like walk them over, and you know, we have these magical things called Finney coins, and that was always the easiest way. When we launched ETH Finney, people came in and we said, hey, if you create a Wax account, we'll send you one of these Finney coins. And then they burn it and they're like, oh, that's cool. Then they start poking around Atomic. Oh, this is different. But it's not an easy, like clean funnel. Like it takes elbow grease to get them over. And then for artists, you know, Atomic isn't a home for art. It's definitely not. So I think, you know, what you're saying about taking the API and you know, creating UI that's fit for art is smart.
I feel like I'm the host of like one of those like dating shows, because like I really want you guys to like get to know each other because you haven't met each other. So here's point number 2 that I think is really interesting, right? I was wrong. It's not WAXAPALOOZA anymore. It's a VR space. But the space that you
M.O.R.B.S.
Right. But the space that you guys put together was great, and like it does a lot of things that a lot of other spaces don't do. And you know, you've got videos, you've got 3D modeling that's going on in there. You've got people who own you know, those booths, right? And they can
and those booths have changed, you know, because now we're 12 rooms. So, you know, we've learned a lot doing these events, you know, over the year, and knowing what's possible, what's not possible, where the limits, and what works and what doesn't work. And now those booths have turned into 2-story spaces that are full-on presentation rooms that they can host outside of the events and everything. So
yeah, so I would love to be the matchmaker. I would love to be the matchmaker and get underground and Meta Collect in there for one of these spaces. But I would also like to be the matchmaker and tell you what Meta Collect is doing, because they're actually opening a real world gallery in Queensland to display NFTs. There's actually video screens on the wall to be able to do this. And I think, like, again, you two are my favorite, like 2 of my favorite people in the space, because you're doing very similar things, and it's unbelievable to me that neither one of you have met before. Like, it's just phenomenally insane, right?
That's the world. It's always funny. A lot of people are working on the same thing. Like we have a PFP maker too, and so we shout out to RAR. So Jose,
we're working on a PFP maker.
Get out of here! What? Do you like kung fu? I like kung fu. Get out!
I hate it.
So this PFP maker, funny enough, you said that Chain Champs was working on the same thing, and they released theirs almost the same time that we started to we discovered, like, I was like, oh, well, you're doing the same thing. And then another friend goes, yeah, I'm working on one too. So there's a couple different PFP makers coming out. Ours is in the alpha beta stage, I would say. Like we've had 3 releases, all of them sold out. They work like a charm. It really helped out the artists. You know, I started doing I think it was one of the early ones on Wax. So there was Imposter Punks, and then I came shortly after that with the cryptos, and then Chummies right after me, and we kept on going. But what we stopped, if you notice, like we went and did it, and we didn't continue to do it. And the reason is that one, I did mine with AR, so to just make the templates and the mints and everything took me about a week and a half to do 100 of them. It was insane amount of work. And so this maker turns that same amount of work into an hour. So it's like a humongous difference, you know. So we're out there helping some of the artists that we are fans of and that we love to help out, and they're part of the Wax gang, and so they're starting to release PFPs as well using that tool. So we have that tool. And then Jose also made a rarity tool and a secondary tool, which this goes into how we're trying to shape what people see. It draws that information from Nifty blocks and Atomic, and we'll give you the rarities on the PFPs. It'll give you the secondary, the floor prices. It shows it like kind of how they're used to seeing it. And I think that hopefully will start to help new collectors coming over from the other chains like Solana, Tezos, everything else, to see things a little bit more how I think they're used to seeing it, instead of kind of seeing it all split up into this kind of minutia of NFTs like coming at you sometimes,
Okay, I want to take that because it's getting heavy, but it's a good heavy. But I want to take an intermission, and I want to show you why I love NiftyBC and why I think that you guys are a match made in heaven. Because realistically speaking, the Finney line is iconic, and I think it will be even more iconic in the future when people find out about it through MetaCollect and Underground and things like that, and all of the things that. Honestly, like, I'm just grateful that, I got the chance to meet Sean because, we've been doing shows for a while. The Edge of Obscurity is great. One of my favorite people on the planet, like one of the nicest people you'll ever meet, with the exception of me, and NiftyBC as well, right? Like you welcome me into your NiftyBC Circus, which we'll get into later. And like, I like to talk a lot, but like, you guys can kind of put me in my place. And so what I want to do right now is I want to play the video that the first thing that got me interested in what you were doing. And this connects so well. Like, I want you to remake it, and I want you to do it with Finney's. Cause this to me is just brilliance at its best. So let me try it this way, cause I'm not sure if it's going to work, but like, let's go here. And here.
Looks like a Finney right there.
Yeah, right.
So good, man.
And the robot screamed as the bombs dropped above the sea, and the robot screamed. Thought I was made for peace, but he's not real. Even though he thinks he feels, it's just circuits in his brain. 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 And the robot cried as the oil dropped from his eye. And the robot cried while pointing the missiles towards the sky. But he's not real, even though he thinks he feels. It's just circuits in his brain. 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 And the robot smiled. Animals came down from the wild. And the robot smiled. As sky turned blue for a while. But he's not real, even though he thinks he feels. It's just circuits in his brain. 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 0101.
That was really fucking cool.
No, thank
Yeah,
you.
so
Well done. Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So a couple of things here. I don't know how much you know about Finney's, but like this for some reason to me just like reminds me of Finney's because like the plugging in of Finney. Sean, tell us about the plugging in of Finney. What is that event?
Yeah, so the original story of Finney, Finney is an android who comes to Earth to discover crypto. And when he gets to Earth, there's all this noise. You know, he's trying to learn about crypto. He's walking through Shift City, named after Peter Schiff, our our antagonist. Who's obsessed with gold, and Finney happens to be made out of gold. Everyone on his planet's made out of gold. So Shift comes in there and he's trying to scam Finney, and people are pointing him in all these directions, and his space shuttle, like he gets discouraged and he goes to leave, but his space shuttle's broken. But throughout his journey, he stumbles upon this pawn shop, and while he's in the pawn shop, OG's pawn shop, and OG's a crypto OG, and starts sort of telling him, giving him the clear signal about crypto. But he sees this device, and this device is like symbolic for Crypto Writer, our publication. And Finney takes the device and he ends up plugging into the device, and that's where he gets like all the you know, he has this mind altering moment where all the crypto info's rushing in.
Very cool.
And Nifty, like this is like for you, this was pre kind of like NFT career type of stuff, right? Like
this was so I used to be in a band called Million Kids for years that had a lot of college play, and we did some West Coast touring and stuff, and that exploded at some point. It was just no need to go into that story. Anyway, so as I did electronic music on the side, and so
did I.
Here we go. See, again, here we go. And so I made that song and put it out, and that video actually is part of a Blender project. I didn't make that the optics on that. That was from a movie from a Blender organization foundation movie that they did years ago. Like this pretty old video actually that you played. That's probably about 10 years old now. So but recently we did something with Yoshi Drops. So there's that as well. But that particular one, that was a film that I saw, and it was a full length, and I was like, oh, that would look really good with the lyrics I wrote, kind of same thing. If I would have known about Finney, I would have chopped up Finney.
But that Yoshi Drops one was really good. I mean,
it was fun. That was fun. That was super fun. Yeah, I really enjoy working with Yoshi. He's great, man, and I think what he's doing is really good for music. I hope that continues to flourish.
Dude, man, Yoshi's one of my favorite people. Like at Christmas, like Yoshi, like he mailed me, and he's like, "Hey, what's your address?" And I got like 2 kilos of rice delivered to my place.
No way! That's
family farm, like on a southern island in Japan.
That's so cool.
Like, that's so cool, man.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Yoshi's awesome. But you recently moved. I'm doing like I'm a hardcore interviewer today, Sean. I'm doing the thing. You recently moved, Nifty, but you were California based, and I want people to understand the AR thing that you're bringing to crypto, because I think it's really interesting. Right?
I was in AR and VR before crypto. It was stuff I'd always been interested in, but because I do 3D, 3D I've been doing for a long time. I'm a graphic designer by trade, and so I just always have been interested in that, but it just never took off. It was just, AR and VR is a hard sell to the mass population still. It'll come, but it's just not there yet. I just don't think we have the tools for it. But anyway, so I first got into NFTs, and the first thing I was introduced to actually was Veve, is that how you say it, or VV, the app that has, the Batmans. So they had all these Batmans, and I was like, oh, I want to get that collectible, and that's really cool. And it comes with this little AR thing, and I was like instantly in my head, like, oh, what a great, I didn't even know even to call it a utility, but I was like, what a cool thing to have with an NFT. At least I could show somebody instead of just being this JPEG and a server. So that's when I was like, I got into it again, and I started making all my collection AR. So almost every piece I think in my collection has an AR QR code that you can scan and see in AR. Some of them are just 2D flat, some of them are full 3D with, you know, animation. So I really like it. Yeah.
I have this idea, and I've had it for a while, and we've discussed it. And maybe you can somehow help execute this because it does involve AR. But for Finney 3.0, if we ever get there, and I think we will one day, I had this idea, and I was talking to Brandon Lovejoy a while back, and he's just like, man, we need to be using NFTs to get people outside. And the light bulb went off for me. And I was like, I would love to do a Finney coin distribution that was like geotagged, right? Like Pokemon Go, over the world. And you had to find these. And maybe, you know, maybe we wouldn't just randomly have them appear. Maybe we'd place them. You take your phone out there and you travel to that spot, and there it is, right? You go on a hike, boom, there it is, and you get it on your phone and you click it, and boom, that's in your wallet now, and then you can burn it into a Finney. But I'd love to do like some sort of geotag distribution of sorts with NFTs. I think it'd be cool. Maybe there's a risk that someone like Jimmy goes out there and gets hit by a little motor scooter on the streets. But, you know, it's something that I don't think has been done before, a distribution like that. I think it'd be pretty cool.
Well, yeah. Well, I was just going to say we did do this before.
You've done it.
I actually worked with another company during Shitcoin last year, and they did a full Pokemon Go kind of thing where you could go and get the pieces to the NFTs, and so it worked out pretty cool. You know, they had enough people do it. You know, I think the issue definitely was connecting the wallets and getting that stuff going, because a lot of people were having, you know, to look through their phone, and then how do you go from the AR into the actual link to get onto the thing? So creating these steps on a phone that isn't fully realized yet, I think left half the people kind of like, I don't know what to do with this thing.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that, yes, AR, I think, will be the future of NFTs, to be quite honest with you. I think if Facebook didn't completely tank like it did recently, I think they were about to release some stuff. They might still do it, who knows, but they were working with Ray-Ban on some glasses already. I was under some suspicion that they're probably creating some kind of AR glass that's working with Ray-Bans. That would be like a cool looking glass that you can wear like a classic Ray-Ban, but it was AR enabled so that you could see ads pop up. You could see almost like a skin go over what you.
So basically, what you're saying is it's time for Google goggles.
They were close.
Right?
As funny as that sounds, that's the closest I think we've come to it doing it. It's just it never caught on, and
yeah, we weren't ready. Right?
You know, like what's weird about VR and AR is the AR problem is that you have to look through a phone, and so that creates an issue. VR is a whole nother game, because now you have to put on this humongous headset, and that's a whole different problem in existence. And then, like, you want to keep that on for so long, and then,
right? I mean, the cases of grandmas tripping over like small dogs while their 8-year-old grandsons make them put on the VR headset
exactly.
Over the Christmas holidays has skyrocketed in the U.S. over the last couple of years. I mean, it's becoming a pandemic.
It's a thing.
It's a really big fucking problem.
Right, exactly.
The only thing I like more than VR is watching people experience VR.
Yeah. I think I watch
my kids with the Oculus.
It's hilarious. It's great, you know. And I think, you know, that's also part of the reason why it hasn't totally caught on is, like, you know, usually when you see something in VR, it was usually like at a convention or something. It was like a booth. Some guy had some VR set up, and everyone's around there. But really, it's kind of funny because, like, the only person really experiencing VR is the guy that has the helmet on. Everyone else is literally experiencing laughing at the guy doing it. And I think that creates like this kind of weird, like, I don't want to be the guy being laughed at, you know, like with the thing on. And so there's a little bit of that, I think, in there. But I think that's all changing. I mean, they have VR glasses now that are like sunglasses. They just cost, thousands of dollars. It's just out of the pocket range still. But that stuff's all coming, and I think like VR, like you said, those kind of NFT collections, I think is a great idea. I think that would, especially for the right type of communities, I could definitely see that become like, yeah, they go on quests. They want to like get up together in groups and go searching for stuff. I could totally see that happening.
Yeah.
Did you just say the right hype of communities?
The right type.
Oh, okay, because I'm gonna go with the right hype because I quite like
right
that.
hype.
I'm gonna go with the right hype too. Why not?
So Nifty, you do. This is what I don't get to go anymore because you cut me out. You put me at a time slot that I can't get out for. But you do the NiftyBC Circus, and like please sometime have Sean on your live stream.
What is it? What is it?
It's Friday at 4:20. Come on tomorrow. We have Yoshi coming on tomorrow. We have some slots open, so come on in.
It might interfere with my pickleball.
So Sean's
Friday
a big pickleballer. This is where he comes up with all his crazy VR ideas.
I wasn't always a big pickleballer, but the virus done got me. And I am addicted.
What is pickleball? Well, I don't know what this is. What is this?
Well, it's an old person. It's like
it's a
smaller tennis court with paddles and a wiffle ball. But it's like
I know what you're talking. Yes, I know what this is.
Tennis, ping pong, badminton, and what got me because I had fun at first. It's a lot easier than tennis. Like two people of various levels can have fun playing, unlike tennis. Cool. Yeah. But what got me is it's almost like a puzzle, especially when you play doubles. Because once you sort of learn the game, you start getting better, and then you play better people. I don't know. It becomes a puzzle. Like you start obsessing over why you can't win certain points and why you're like what you need to do and how you need to change angles and all this stuff. So it's fastest growing sport in America. And I've been known to be a bit of a trendsetter. So if I'm playing it, you'll be playing it in about 2 years.
Okay, NiftyBC, you have no idea about the clownism that is Sean Balan over here. So Sean has this thing. He has this thing for I like to call them toilets. But he has this thing where he is going to his friend's place for more than a night. He will actually pre-order a bidet that goes onto their toilet so that like he can have it when it's there and have it pre-installed before he gets there.
Hey,
yeah, I've shipped out I've Amazoned many bidets to all my friends or anywhere we're traveling because it's really a game changer, and for $27 when the pandemic
and they all love the ass massage after for years on end. It's the gift that keeps on giving, really.
What I haven't solved though is so I hype up the bidets and people buy them, but what I didn't factor in is that the people up north in Canada in cold places, that water's shooting out really cold. I'm down here in South Florida, it's always like 74 degrees, right? Which is a comfortable anus temperature, but when you drop below 63 shout out to Etta in the crowd.
You've never talked about that on the Edge. We'll be going live for another Edge tomorrow, I believe. So definitely tune into that. But you've never actually talked about that on the Edge.
I was just gonna say, perfect name. I go to talk about it on the Edge. I'm like, yes, bidets, Edge.
No,
hey, what did you get in the mail, honey? We got a package from Sean. What is it? I don't know. Is it a Tupperware set? I don't know.
I had my best friend Trey. He's living in DC, and I was going to visit him, and I shipped one out to his house, and of course his wife, she got it, and she opened the box, and she's like, "What the fuck is this tray?" Like, and she just shoved it in a closet somewhere. So I get there a week later. I'm like, "Hey, you got it set up, Trey?" He's like, "No, Leah kind of put the hex on." anyways, it took me all weekend to convince him to put this thing in. Finally, Monday, she went to work. We installed it. A week later, I'm like, hey, how's that bidet? One word, game changer. That was it. I'll send you one. I'll send you one.
Great.
So, a couple more things that I want to hit up. I mean, we're okay to stay a little bit longer, maybe. But
I've got something in 20 minutes.
Okay.
But you can, Jimmy, you can roll with it for as long as you want. This is your stream as much as it is mine.
Yeah, right. And thank you for everyone joining us for the Meta Effect Volume 2. Like, I'm really excited that you guys are meeting because, like, this is two of the people, again, in the metaverse world, in the NFT world that, like, are game changing, that are connecting communities across multiple blockchains. So, and one place that MetaCollect doesn't really have an influence thus far is Solana. But you're over there, Nifty. Like, you're doing some stuff with Soul Surfers and you're big into kind of the Solana community. And I want you to tell us a little bit about, what you're doing and what, potential Solana might have when it comes to NFTs, because there's a lot of noise actually that's happening right now from Solana.
Isn't Solana the second?
It's
after ETH, it's pretty massive, right? The NFT space.
The collect, well, I use Solana on FTX, which a lot of people don't use, mainly because it's KYC. A lot of people don't want to KYC and deal with that market. But at the same time, that FTX market is people that have crypto, that are getting into crypto, learning about crypto, and the first access to NFTs are their markets. So there is that bonus side of it. Also, Solana is going to most likely end up handling a lot of the Coinbase stuff. And now with the talk of Musk coming to Twitter, he's in talks with them handling the NFT side of Twitter. So
it's the second best thing to happen this year, really. Like, the first really best thing to happen this year is when he buys cola and Coca-Cola and puts the cocaine back into it, right?
Gotta love that. So
I love Coke.
So I mean, I think that it's not going anyplace. I think that it's the most scalable from ETH. That's the most, ahead of the game, at least. Like, I love Tezos. I have stuff on Tezos. I have, and I love that community. I just think it still feels too, like it still needs to hone its stuff together a little bit, like it's.
Well, I was just even connecting the object yesterday, and it was just like sitting there,
exactly,
spinning,
exactly. And I use object, and then dealing with the wallets is weird as well, because there's definitely about a 15-minute lag, and that is that's hard with collectors. Collectors get nervous real quick, especially if you're a new collection. Like, where's my stuff? Like, my Tez is gone. Like, what do I do? And
with Underground and on EOS, and we're playing around internally testing the platform. And again, it's modeled after Hen. It looks almost identical, but a little more refined.
Nice.
But like, people are gonna, once they get over those onboarding obstacles, once they start using it, it's gonna be sharp. Like, they're gonna be like, whoa, because that coming from EOS and Wax and then going to Tezos and collecting art, and it was just like, wait, I can't just
exactly.
Buy.
Exactly. That was a big thing when I was talking earlier about the collectors coming over. You had all these collectors, and that was the positive thing they said. It was like, it's so fast. It's like so fast. Like, there's not this lag time, and then the fact that they don't have to deal with gas fees obviously was a big bonus as well. But their gripe was like, I don't understand how to set up a wallet. Why am I being charged 5 wax? I get it. Like, I was like, I hear your pain points are totally legitimate. So, but I think Solana is definitely going to be growing, and I think that's really going to probably start to take a little bit of that ETH market, unless ETH goes 2.0 finally and goes proof of stake. But
don't even get me started on ETH going 2.0. How many times have I raved about this?
Too many times.
Nifty,
so
Nifty
we went Wax, EOS, then we went to ETH, then we went to Terra. and Underground does a lot of stuff on Tezos, and you see the Tezos NFT space, waves and waves, and it's getting bigger, more money's pouring in, but they also lack a real art scene, and all the marketplaces are not, they're just, the ones that have good user experience don't have self-minting, and the ones that have self-minting are just like awful, like unusable. And that's sort of a goal for us, because we have the crunks on Terra to then
part of the problem with Terra is there's no flipping developers. So if you know developers, hook us up.
Well,
if you're a Terra developer out there, we got big things coming for MetaCollect.
We've seen
the uplift as well. Like, hook us up. We need those devs.
I think what at least we've seen and what we've experienced in retrospect, this is what I think it is. I think that there are Rust devs on Solana, and when they don't make the cut on Solana, then they try to go over to Terra and drum up some business for themselves. And we've had the experience of trying out these devs, but they're just junior and not the caliber we're looking for. Whereas typically, if there's high caliber devs, the good projects, they've been scooped up and locked up. So you're
Nifty
getting
is over in the Solana space. Do you happen to have a dev that we could use over on Terra to
kickstart
and jumpstart this? I mean,
well,
I'm just saying.
The thing about Solana also is that you got like Holoplex and stuff like that, where you could build your own space pretty easily with just a Metaplex background. So a lot of the dev stuff wasn't even, I don't want to say not necessary, unless you had a project just specifically needing a dev to either write you a specific contract or to get a game online or something. Just to get your mints up there or to put up a collection was pretty easy. And then Magic Eden came in with their launches and all that kind of stuff. And then I just FTX guy was just if I'm going to list something, I just want to be, my end goal here is really to try to get as many normal people into this space as possible, not to just constantly stay in the same pond. I think that's the bigger picture of what I'm trying to go for, and I think that Solana just seemed like an easy thing, and Wax does too. It's just, I don't know why Wax is just not catching, I just, I've been here for a year, and just, I thought the coin would at least pump over $1 by now, especially.
Well, and I mean, we are in a similar boat right now, right? We're dropping our DAO tokens, and we're dropping our DAO tokens on the uplift over on Ethereum, because those are the most structured DAOs at this point in time, right now, right? And
are there even DAOs really even set up on Wax really yet? I don't even know how many DAOs are even on.
They're
Wax.
not. There were a few on EOS.io, a few DACs on EOS.io. I mean, but they're not really still, even with Pomelo, they're not really getting the funding. And there's nothing, more developed than what's on Ethereum, right? And so we're dropping our DAO tokens, and we're going to be hopefully launching a world over there in the next month or so.
Nice.
And I think that what happens with devs in the crypto space is going to be really interesting, right? And I will go out on the line and say that some of the best devs in the space work for the MetaCollect team. I will put that out there. I mean, what you guys have put together in terms of back end, well, it's not cheap. Let's just put it that way. I mean, and so expanding across blockchains and putting this into an ecosystem whereby you can have fine art, you can have Nifty, you do this as well, right? You're expanding across blockchains, but where you can have all of these kind of things. It's funny because really we are the 1%. I mean, in the blockchain universe, we are the 1%, because Joe Blow out there doesn't know anything. They haven't been in this space yet. And bringing them into that space is probably easier in Wax than anywhere else, but nobody's using it, right? The Wax is one of the only platforms that has social logins. Yeah. And I mean, I'm frustrated that we're having to go back to ETH, right? I'm frustrated because it's just so confusing and so difficult, right? I mean, I registered for a Solana wallet the other day. I used Phantom. Yeah, I mean, and it kind of freaked me out, because even coming from Wax, it freaked me out. It's all I have to do is I have to put in my passcode, like, and that's it, really. Like there's no backup. Like there's a seed phrase, but like
That's it. That's all it is.
And the worst part about Solano, which might be the best part about Solano, actually, and the Phantom Wallet, is when you put in your seed phrase, you can't copy and paste it. You actually have to type the flipping thing out, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's no joke, man. Yeah.
So I can see like people like kind of freaking out and getting like really intense about this, like when they're just used to clicking buttons and giving the internet all of their information that will steal their funds in the real, banking crypto, non-crypto world. Like it's a little bit like.
Yeah, I think for adoption, I think that we need something that's just clean and easy and fast. And I think Wax is almost there with that. I think when they added the 5 Wax fee, that created a little bit of a problem, I think, for new collectors. They don't know why they're putting up money first. It creates that consumer question, like, why am I doing that? Like, I mean,
is there any on Wax, is there any way for Americans to go fiat to Wax?
You can do it through MoonPay, but the problem is that you have to fork in about, I think, $40 or $50 in originally to get it.
So it's not. It's still clunky, and that's like what you're saying on Solana, where you're going just through FTX, just through the app. That's such an easier and it's another reason why we it's still not easy with Anchor on EOS, but at least there's that liquidity for Americans that it's easy to get the EOS and send it. But the problem is setting up the wallet is the obstacle.
Now, I think that's where you guys need to go next, to be honest. Like, if I'm 100% honest, Sean, like, you're across 5 blockchains already. If you're going to add a 6, I think it needs to be Solana, really, and beyond Solana, I mean, I don't know where you would go after that. I mean, there's not that many blockchains that you guys haven't tapped into that isn't that way.
Yeah.
And then Nifty, I would say the same thing. I think if you're going to go somewhere else, I think you need to go to Terra. And I think you guys could collaborate and coordinate and do that together. As long as you show the Swingin' Jimmy original Finney D thing crunk that's going on. Did you know, Nifty, that I have my own original NFT? Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
Maybe I can pull
it up. Let me see.
Oh, we got it on testnet.
That's good. Sean coined it. Sean made it. And I'm the only original NFT that's not in the storyline of the Crunks because I didn't get my shit together and actually write a story about it.
Let me share this. I'll get it up here. Let's put it up.
So yeah. The Mongs, by the way, too. Yeah, I'm excited about the Mongs. This is the Swingin' Jimmy D.
Yes.
Right here.
That's awesome.
Look at the hair on his arm. Shout out to and for 10 million wax, it could be yours.
There you go.
But this is 10 million wax on Wax testnet. So it's doable. You can keep.
How many times you get? What, 2,000 wax a day?
Yeah, something like that. You got to do it for a while, but you can own this mystical swinging Jimmy D. Still wearing his ex-wife's.
It's not that
wedding ring around his neck.
This is edge shit. We're not going to the obscurity and beyond. Keep it meta. Keep it meta effect, man. So again, I'll connect you to, but I really hope that Sean, you can show up on the Nifty Circus.
Yeah, man, the door's open, man.
And Nifty, come join us. Today was actually really calm. Come join us on the edge sometime, and like we'll show you the way. Because so the thing behind the edge is this was Sean and I's original show. And we would just get on there and we would just talk about whatever until we got to the edge of obscurity and beyond. And Sean's not really, he's not a live type of person. We brought him on the Uplifters channel once, and he spent the whole time throwing Bonds under the bus, and Bonds was in the comments, and it was great. It was and then we started doing the show on the Crypto Writer channel, which is now the Meta Collect channel, and. We hit it off, kind of like each other. I mean, Sean's carved my name into the pool house desk that we did with the one live show where he doesn't really want to do it anymore because apparently I have no fun in the morning.
They're like termites. They were termites.
So, but we're gonna keep this going. NiftyBC, thank you for being our second guest ever on,
course, man.
Sean and I's co-hosted show where we bring new people into the space onto this, and try our hands at interviewing other people instead of just talking to the edge of obscurity and beyond. Is there anything that you want to shout out? And honestly, I guarantee you that you're going to be back because we only scratched the surface of what you're doing. But is there anything that you want to shout out before we go?
Have fun staying poor. Perfect. Have fun staying poor, everybody.